to Episode 1, Season 2 of The Dave Whitty Show with your host, Dave Whitty. Brought to you in part by Lambs Rum. Lambs Rum, one of the top choices for Newfoundlanders who love the authentic smooth taste. Enjoy Palm Breeze today with a splash of Coke and a lime wedge, or for something different, try Lambs on its own over a few cubes of ice. Lambs the best choice for hard-working Newfoundlanders, and at a great price, find Lambs Rum at all of your local NLCs. From February 27th to April 2nd, save $4 on Lambs Spiced 1140 milliliters or 26ers in Newfoundland, and also save $1.50 on Lambs Pineapple Sociable 6-packs. Well, folks, welcome back. It's great to be back. Nice to take a little break over the last couple months. First off, I want to say a huge thanks to everybody who took part in Season 1. I didn't really know how it was going to work out. I really wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to have different people on and just chat about all sorts of different things. I mean, that was the whole goal of this podcast from the get-go. And I think I achieved that with lots of different variations and different people and different fields and all that different stuff. So, I want to say a big thanks to, all my previous guests, and really, really happy to be back and doing another season of the podcast, and look forward to chatting with all kinds of interesting and creative people. Like I mentioned, I do want to say a big shout out to Lambs for jumping on board and sponsoring the podcast. Really, really helps out and gives me the opportunity to not stress so much about this little project that I do really love. I mean, I really, really enjoy doing the podcast, and I love chatting with the different people and all kinds of different cool folks, right? But yeah, I mean, so much going on the last little while. So much has happened since we last chatted here on the podcast. I mean, with COVID and Christmas and all that kind of stuff. And, it's just been absolutely crazy. I finished off just before the holiday season. And just as that kind of happened, boom, we got struck with another wave of COVID and lockdowns and stuff. And I had a huge Tibbs Eve show that I always do a big Tibbs Eve show at the Rock House, every year. And for those folks listening outside of Newfoundland, maybe not familiar with Tibbs Eve is December 23rd. And, it's generally they kind of say about it's the day in Newfoundland before the Christmas holidays where you get out and get to spend it with your family, or with your friends, before you spend a few days with your family. So, Tibbs Eve is huge in Newfoundland. I mean, everybody gets out. The bars are packed. It's a really busy night for the pubs and the bars. And like I say, I've been doing the show on Tibbs Eve for years. It's a real tradition now. And the day before we were supposed to put it off, so December 22nd, they closed all the bars because of the wave of COVID and the Omicron. But we pivoted pretty fast, and I just want to say a big shout out to my friend Tino Borges, who owns the Bull and Barrel, and he offered up his space, and I mean it worked out really, really great afterwards. I got to say, it wasn't the same thing without a live audience, but I mean we had a ton of people tune into our live show. So thanks everybody who tuned into the live show, and thanks to the band. I had Peter Green and Nick Earl and Dan George helped me out on that one, and it worked out as best as it possibly could. I had a lot of fun, and I think everybody at home kind of enjoyed it because everybody was definitely forced to be kind of probably stuck inside when they didn't want to be for Tibbs Eve. It was a lot of fun, and I was a little stressed. There's no doubt about that, because I mean, I had this Tibbs Eve show booked. I had a ton of merch that I had ordered that arrived on the 22nd. I was really, really stressed about that. But, I mean, I got to say, everybody really pulled through, and I ended up selling all of the merch pretty much that night. I mean, I was just, myself and Peter, we sat down and we packaged up all the shirts and all the hats and sweaters and all that stuff, and we sipped a couple pops and packed it all up and got rid of most of it that night. I mean, it was it was overwhelming, the amount of support I had from that cancellation of that show. So, thanks to everybody. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, it really, really was special to be able to pull that off. So, thanks again. Also, we had Andrew Rodgers open up that show. He did a great job. And Andrew's actually my very first guest of this season. So we had a great chat all about his band Fairgale and a new solo project and all kinds of different things. And so, you stick around on the back end of the pod for the chat with Andrew. Got a ton to get into, obviously, before we have a little chat with Andrew. So much stuff going on, guys. I mean, if you're living in Newfoundland, what a winter this has been. I mean, I don't know what the hell is happening, but I've never seen a winter like this. For the most part, I'm generally gone in the winters for at least a couple months anyways. But, I mean, up until this week we have had really no snow. It's been crazy. I mean, I was out last week for a walk and it felt like it was spring out, and it was middle of February, which is very, very bizarre for Newfoundland. I mean, especially this time of year, January and February, generally pretty tough. I mean, weather-wise and that kind of stuff. But it was, it was really, really nice to be out and get outside. And I mean, just no shoveling has been absolutely incredible. But we did get hit the last couple days, and there was a lot of snow fell in the last couple days. So we got a lot of it down on the ground there now, but it looks like it's supposed to warm up again towards the end of the week, and who knows, maybe it'll all be gone again. Tons of stuff going on in the sporting world, guys. You guys know me. I'm huge into sports. If you haven't followed my podcast at all, one of the main reasons I wanted to start this whole thing right from the get-go was just to be able to chat about stuff that's going on in my life. I mean, music, about sports that I've been watching or I've attended, or, new albums that I've been listening to, or anything that's kind of going on. I mean, that was the whole idea behind this podcast. And I mean, there's lots of stuff going on, especially where we haven't chatted in a while and I haven't been on, to kind of talk about it in a while. The Olympics are on the go right now in Pyeongchang. Nope, that's a lie. Sorry. They're not in Pyeongchang. That was the last time. We're in Beijing right now. And been trying to watch as much as I can. It's really tough, obviously, with the time change. Really difficult to kind of keep up on it. You kind of get to see a little bit at the end of the night before you go to bed, and it's usually that's when they're starting up in the morning over there, and then you get to see a little bit in the morning when it's just their nighttime. I mean, so Newfoundland zone, Mount Pearl zone, and the O'Donnell High School zone, Mr. Brad Gouju and his team. They're competing right now. Pretty fun to watch. I mean, it's always great to see a Newfoundlander in the mix. And obviously, we're all rooting for Brad and the team from back here. I mean, I think he's, when I'm recording, I think he has one more match against Great Britain. So, I think he needs to win against Great Britain to get into the playoff round. So, we're all rooting for Brad. So good luck to to Team Gouju. Other than that, I've been watching a few different things. I mean, the Olympics is always interesting because you find yourself watching, bobsled when you normally wouldn't in the real world, or, for the last 4 years, and kind of watching it and watching it compete, which is always a lot of fun. It's really a tough shame about the hockey. I mean, it would have been so fun to see the best of the world go against the best in the world, but it's not kind of worked out like that. So hopefully, maybe they'll figure out a World Cup or something for the best hockey players in the world. You want to see these guys go against each other, and guys like Sidney Crosby and some of the older guys, they might not get a chance to do this again. So it'd be a great opportunity to for fans especially to watch, because that's what you want to see. You want to see the best on best. Obviously watching a ton of Leafs going on. Leafs have been playing great. I mean, they're having a great season. Matthews, again, that top line has been just absolutely fire, and we're so happy to see that. Matthews, really great to see Mitch Marner shooting the puck a lot. He's just been super hot lately, tons of goals. Michael Bunting, what an addition to that top line, guys. I was so bummed. If you listened to me last year, you heard me talk about Zach Hyman, the loss of Zach Hyman on that top line. But I think we acquired a cheaper version of Zach Hyman, and probably less injury prone, it seems like, and maybe even a little grittier and a little scrappier, which is great to see. He's proved himself. I mean, that looked like it was going to be Nick Ritchie's role on the top line, and I mean, he's not even really playing with the Leafs right now. I think he's sent down, and Bunting's really made the best of it. So that's really fun to see. Jack Campbell's had a great season. Last couple of games, he's been a little shaky, but I mean, that's going to happen. I mean, in Leafland, what happens is, when you lose a game or lose a couple games, everyone freaks. But I think they're on the right path, and I think we just got to keep playing the way that they have been, and keep keep the course, and hopefully we can really make some changes this year in the first round. I mean, everything matters to the Leafs when it comes to the playoffs. The Habs, I'm not sure what happened to the Habs this year, guys. I mean, obviously we know Carey Price is out. I mean, big loss in Shea Weber, but whoa, are they ever bad this year? There's really not a whole lot to say. It looks like a complete bust of a season. They just traded Tyler Toffoli, one of their great players. He's gone to Calgary. And speaking of Calgary, the Flames are absolutely super hot. They are really, really good. Markstrom's been great. Their top line is really producing, and I think Toffoli's going to be a great addition for them. The Oilers are another team I've been keeping an eye on. I've always loved watching the Oilers. My brother's a big fan of the Oilers, and we always chat about the Leafs and Oilers and stuff like that. And I'm a big fan of Connor McDavid. I mean, he deserves he deserves success. He's such a great player, but man, they are having a tough season. They really got to address a few things there. The goaltending's been tough. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. The Evander Kane signings looks like it's been pretty good and very positive for the team. I mean, he adds a ton of grit. He can score goals. So it'll be interesting to see how the Oilers play out. I'm very excited to see that. I'm definitely watching a bit of Raptors. Really, really happy to see Fred VanVleet get his first All-Star nod. Really, really cool when a guy who goes undrafted, like Fred did, get nominated for the All-Star game. That's really, really cool. And, happy to see, Fred get that, the accolades and really show what he's got, because he's really, really talented. I don't think he gets enough, he doesn't get enough praise, probably because he plays north of the border and especially on the American channels and stuff like that. Huge blockbuster trade. I mean, with James Harden leaving Brooklyn, going to Philly for Ben Simmons. I think it was Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and a couple first-round picks. I mean, I couldn't believe that. It just seems like with Simmons or with Harden, I mean, I guess Simmons too, but some of these big guys, like Russell Westbrook, I mean, it seems like these guys, you can never make them happy. They're making millions and millions and millions of dollars playing with their all-star friends, and I don't think they're getting enough touches with the ball, and it seems like they're disappointed, and they're always looking for trades. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. I mean, you put Harden and Embiid together in Philly, it's massive. And then if you also put, I mean, once Simmons gets healthy and you put him in with Durant and Kyrie and the Nets, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see as well. I wanted to mention this because I did watch the Waste Management Phoenix Open in PGA the weekend. What a tournament this is, guys. Like, I don't know if you watch golf at all or you're interested in golf, but this tournament is unlike any other, because in golf, I mean, it's very like, it's very kind of posh. I mean, everyone is, very, very, just not really loud or you don't see much cheering. You don't see a whole lot of stuff. But anyways, this Waste Management Phoenix Open, man, what a zoo this place is. I think it's like something like, they do it like once a year where they just kind of like let loose, but it's really, really neat. I heard a commentator calling it the other day stadium golf, which is pretty interesting, because if you see it, there's a lot of the holes, especially the 16th hole, there's completely surrounded by grandstands, and it makes it so fun for that par 3 16th. I mean, a couple guys hit hole-in-ones the weekend past, and it just erupted there. I'd never seen a celebration like that, especially in golf. Like, I really couldn't believe it. I thought it was so crazy just to see that happening in golf. So I really wanted to throw that in. And I've never noticed that before. I watch a lot of golf, and I watch a lot of the PGA and stuff, but I've never noticed that tournament kind of be like that before. So I thought that was just such a laugh. And it kind of shows a different side of golf, which is great. I mean, it doesn't normally happen like that. Like you say, it's usually pretty tame and low-key, quiet. I mean, nobody even speaks when guys are shooting. These guys are chucking beer cans out on the green, man. I absolutely thought it was crazy. Obviously, I tuned into the Super Bowl on Sunday. Big football fan. My Green Bay Packers lost. Very curious what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. I have no idea. To me, I feel like he's probably going to re-sign back in Green Bay. I mean, I think he'd be kind of nuts not to finish out his career there. I mean, he's had such a great legacy there. But I mean, he won the MVP, but just one of those things again with the Packers. It doesn't seem like they can do it when it comes to crunch time. They, a couple bad plays here and there, and that's what happens. But I did manage to catch a Super Bowl. It was down in L.A., the L.A. Rams versus the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not sure what was the better show, the actual game or the halftime show, because both of them were great. I mean, it was great games. Not really a big fan of either team. It's interesting to see Burrow as a second-year player, and it's been interesting to see Stafford. He's been around for a long time with the Detroit Lions, and I mean, great to see him, win a championship once he moved over, and lots of things to take out of that game. But the biggest thing I took out of it was the halftime show. I mean, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, 50 Cent came out, and of course Eminem. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, I seen a lot of people talking about, it was the best halftime show. I'm not sure if it was the best halftime show ever. I mean, I thought it was a really, really great halftime show. But it's just kind of like, the boys are they're not young anymore, but they did the bangers, the old songs that people love to hear. I mean, I think of obviously the Prince halftime show was incredible. I mean, even Lady Gaga was incredible. She came out it was so much more theatrics to it. I mean, but the halftime show this year was super fun. I mean, how could you not, you catch yourself banging out to the old Dre tunes and the Snoop Dogg and it was awesome. So I really, really enjoyed that. I thought they did a great job with that. Moving along from sports, with myself, I mean, obviously I haven't been doing a whole lot, guys. I mean, it's been everything's been locked down up until just this weekend passed. I mean, you'll be hearing this on Wednesday, February 16th, and last weekend, the weekend just passed, was the first weekend that bars were even open. So, obviously haven't been doing a whole lot. Been doing a lot of writing, recorded a bunch of demos over the last couple months. Applied for some funding. Didn't receive it, but not to be discouraged. Gonna keep working on it and try to fix up my application and try to get some more funding and try to get a new record going, because I've got a ton of stuff written and I really want to put out a new record. It's just so challenging. I mean, with the way that the music industry is going, I mean, it's hard to make money off of Spotify and all these things. And I mean, that's, obviously one of the biggest factors. So it's expensive to fund an album. I mean, so I got a bunch of new stuff written. Hopefully I can get it out and get moving on some of that stuff. I did put out a new song just before Christmas, a song called So I'll Go. I released that one with the Newfoundland Growlers, and luckily the Growlers are starting to have some fans back in the stadium now, so it's great to see that the fans are starting to come back. But if you are in the building by any chance, have a listen for that one anytime that anytime the Growlers go on to power play. And a big shout out to them for supporting local and kind of collabing with me on that one to get my song heard. Especially in the big stadium with a lot of fans. So and the Growlers are doing great. I think since they've been home, I think they won 5 games in a row. I think since they have been playing back in St. John's. Last year I had Zach O'Brien and Marcus Power on of the Newfoundland Growlers, hoping to get some more Growlers on this season as well, because I love chatting with those guys and seeing what they've been up to and how the season's going and all that kind of fun stuff. Excuse me. ECMA nominations came out. 45 nominations from Newfoundland, guys. I mean, that is awesome to hear. Super, super stoked for a lot of my friends in the industry. Kingsway, Dr. Zoo, Carolina East, Kelly McMichael, Quote the Raven, Reuben Rake, Bowater, Clifford Crawley, Alex Byrne, Virginia Fudge, Rosemary Lawton, Anna and Eric Hope, Dwayne Andrews, Janet Call, Sean McCann, Yvette Lorraine, Kelly Loader. They were all musical nominations up for different types of awards, folk and all the different awards, a bunch of different artists in there who were up for different stuff. And there's also some industry nominees, Mallory Johnson, Silver Wolf Band, First Light Center for Performance, Atlantic Music, Nigel Jenkins, First Late Fridays, New Country NL, VOCM, Amy Joy, Greg Smith, who's a former guest on as well, Chris Kirby, Cecil Johnson, and Krista Power. So, congratulations to all the nominees, everybody who's been who's got a nomination, and best of luck. With the ECMA, is hopefully everything gets kind of back on track. It's been a little shaky the last couple of years, definitely with award shows and everything going on with COVID, but. Yeah, happy for all my friends, and I'm happy to be back on the podcast, guys. So, without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to my conversation with Andrew Rodgers. We had a really great chat. I threw a new little segment in at the end where I'm just trying to have a bit of fun with it and not try to make it so serious, and just kind of fired some rapid fire questions at him. It seemed to work out pretty good, so hopefully I'll keep that going with my guests. So make sure you do stick around for a great chat with Andrew Rodgers. And I'd like to welcome Mr. Andrew Rodgers to the podcast. How you doing, Andrew, man? Thanks so much for coming on. Been a little while since I've seen you last, so haven't caught up with you in a little while. So how's everything been? What's going on?
Good, man. I think the last time I saw you actually was might have been Tibbs Eve.
It was. I was going to bring it up myself. Yeah, but it was. That was what a wild turn of events. How that turned out to be. I mean,
yeah.
I spoke a little bit about it in my intro, obviously, before I got on chatting with you in this episode. But Andrew, I had Andrew who's coming down to open up, and I know you're working on a bunch of new stuff. So it was a fun little show to do that. And then it kind of got canned. And obviously we ended up spending it at the Bull and Barrel and did it live. And I mean, it worked out great. I mean, it was what it was. And we all had a laugh for sure. I think everybody at home had a bit of a laugh too. So it was all good.
Yes, man. It was a fun night. Yeah, definitely. Like, I guess, especially for yourself, like, I know that Tibbs Eve is a big night for everyone in Newfoundland, but for you especially, every year you're doing the big show. So it's a bit disappointing when everything just kind of goes downhill that quickly. But luckily, you were able to get it together there, and I was happy enough to come along and open her up there. So
yeah, I mean, that was the last kind of that was kind of like the last like getting out moment. Like I haven't really done anything since then. I mean, everything's pretty much been shut down up until, I mean, just this weekend passed. So I haven't really done a whole lot or haven't seen anybody. I mean, I know you've been really busy though. I've seen I'm following along and seeing what you've been up to. I mean, are you currently in the middle of 2 recording projects right now, or is what's going on there? What's happening?
So, maybe this is a good chance to clear some of the confusion. Yeah, well, I mean, for those people out there that don't know me, I play in a band called Fairgale. I've been playing with those guys. I guess the band officially started up around 2014, sometime around then.
Is there any members of Fairgale from Tyrant? Is that right?
Yes, man. Oh yeah. So yeah, this is always fun when okay. Every now and again, we're at a gig and someone will go Tyrant just out of nowhere, right? Like it doesn't happen quite as much anymore. We were playing a gig actually at the Delta not too long ago for the Monte Carlo thing. That happens every year there, big fundraiser. And after the gig, I was like, boys, did you guys hear someone say Tyrant? I was like, yes, man, I heard that. But yeah, I guess the kind of, to not go out too far off track here on that, myself, Brad Tuck, as many of you guys might know, as a trad artist also. He played.
Yeah, I had Brad on. Brad was a guest of mine last season. Yep.
Yeah, man, I saw that one. And Gary Powers, who plays in Fairgale. We started as a metal band back in our teens, and somehow we're still playing together. But yeah, the band was called Tyrant. We were super into Iron Maiden, so much so that
there's some really awesome pictures of you guys going around, man. Like the complete hair. Yeah, the hair, the swoops, and the big jeans, and it's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But yeah, those were fun days, man. It's just interesting every now and then, like somebody will ball that out, shout out.
You guys got to throw one in the set list. You should throw one back in the set list for a laugh, and just occasionally, if somebody ever does yell, you know what I mean? It's just like maybe a chill gig or I don't know, something for a laugh. It'd be funny.
It'd be hilarious. Yeah, but yeah, those fun times. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no. So you were saying, I mean, with Tyrant, I mean, obviously you're into Fairgale, and what I've noticed, I mean, I've seen, it looks like you're in the middle of recording 2 separate albums right now. It looks like you're doing a Fairgale album, and it looks like you're doing a solo record, right? Am I right in saying that?
That's correct. So, I mean, we've been working on a Fairgale album for quite some time now, and it was like lockdown after lockdown, and then not being able to get together. And I had planned on doing a solo album at some point coming up in the future, and I was like, man, I can just start working on it now anyway. And then when Fairgale is able to kind of get back together, we'll take it from there. And that's what we have been doing. Fairgale's going hard now in the studio. We're trying to clue up an album. We're hoping to have maybe a single out in a couple of months. I don't want to make any promises at this point, but yeah. So I started working on a solo album, and then it all kind of just happened at the same time. So I guess to clear any confusion, Fairgale is definitely still going strong. There's just going to be more music. I love writing songs. That's what I love to do the most. And not everything I write, fits neatly into the Fairgale folder, I guess you can call it. And what I'm doing as a solo, the solo album is more like folky, acoustic, that sort of thing. Like,
yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, I know like this is probably your first real dip into a solo record, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what's what kind of led you in that direction? Obviously, I mean, I'm sure the lockdown might have had something to do with it. Not to push it out, but I probably gave you a bit more free time to write some different stuff. And like you mentioned, I mean, it might not fit in the Fairgale folder, but I mean, what's some of the differences that people can expect? I mean, between the kind of 2 records that are coming.
Of course, yeah. I mean, Fairgale is a 4-piece rock band. The standard setup: 2 electric guitars, bass, drums. That sort of thing. Definitely like a lot of high energy rock type stuff. The solo thing is just it's more like kind of taking what I might be doing at home on the couch in a more chill sort of setting. I'm singing a lot more. I'm singing lower in my range than I probably would be in Fairgale. Like a lot of times, as you probably know, I'm kind of testing the upper limits, definitely in Fairgale. And this is more like like sit around a campfire sort of thing. Like,
Oh yeah, no man,
it's,
that's really exciting.
yeah,
I mean, I've heard you play a couple songs. I think you did a couple at the Tibbs Eve show
yeah,
for the live stream, which was great. I mean, really definitely looking forward to that. I mean, that's super exciting. Obviously, the new Fairgale record is very exciting. I mean,
yeah.
what's kind of going on with that record? I mean, you mentioned that it's been a little work in the progress. I mean, obviously over the last couple of years or so. So what's been happening there?
Yeah, I mean, we started so the first album was produced by Robert Kelly. The second one was produced by Chris Kirby. As time went on, myself, Stephen, and Brad primarily, we all have like our own individual home studios. I'm in mine right now. We've gotten at least half decent at doing our own recordings and stuff. Like if anyone's been following along, we self-produced Liza, we self-produced What Doesn't Kill Us. So we were like, we were kind of headed in that direction. But because we weren't been able to get together as much maybe as we would have liked, we were self-producing. But I guess the finish off the back half of the album is maybe a good way to put it. We teamed up with Robert Kelly again. He's a good friend of ours. He took over a studio here in St. John's called Record Time, and just loved the vibe there. I started well, what happened was I went into I called up Robert. I was like, man, I got this solo project. Like to me, like producing a Fairgale song for me is different than like going into a solo thing, as you definitely know. Like I mean, you're on your own, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of called up Robert. I was like, man, do you want to be a part? Like,
Well, I
do
mean,
you
it's
want to?
great to have anybody. And I mean, especially with Robert, I
Yeah.
mean, he's brilliant. I mean, to be able to have ideas to bounce off with somebody, I mean, you're probably
Oh my
very
God.
used to that and comfortable with doing that with the band. I mean, you've been doing it for so long. I mean, to
Yeah.
me, that I find that a little bit more challenging, probably because I've been doing the opposite for so long. So, I mean, that's an interesting comparison. Yeah.
Well, actually, it's interesting you say that actually, because I most of my music life, if you want to look at it that way, has been, and around the same people. But like, even if I'm working on something here, I'll be like, hey, boys, what do what do you think of this? And maybe they'll say, oh, well, I like this and I don't like, whatever. You're
Mm-hmm.
bouncing stuff back and forth. When you're doing it on yourself or by yourself, sorry, you're not, it's not quite the same, right? You're left kind of being like, is this good? Is this a good decision? Does this
It's
suck?
tough. Yeah. It's difficult
Yeah.
because, I mean, as a writer, I mean, it's interesting to write stuff because, in the sense that some days you see you write something and you think it's amazing. You're man, I really nailed it on that, and then you get up and
Yeah.
play it the next day, or you jot out a little demo, and you're like, man, what the hell is that? Like and
Oh,
then you're fighting
exactly.
with yourself almost over it. You know what I mean? Which is crazy. So it is. Yeah, it's great. Absolutely great to have some different opinions and stuff.
Yeah, and I love having these conversations with other musicians. Like, we're all kind of doing the same thing, and how many times you're like, man, this sucks. Like, I can't believe I came up with that. This is garbage. But like talking to someone like yourself, like you're going through all that too. I guess on the outside, if for people who aren't part of that creative process, yeah, you you might find it interesting, how it all works. And like, yeah, you can like the first listen. We always say you can't get your first listen back. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
how strongly you might feel about a song in the beginning, sometimes you got to convince yourself, because as time goes on, you're working on a song, you're working out the kinks, you're recording it. I mean, like there comes a point where you just hate everything, but then you kind of I always got to remind myself, you know what, I really, really like this in the beginning. And I think, that gut reaction early on is maybe what I should follow, because it's so easy to like, you're just hearing stuff over and over and over. So to tie it in with Robert, I did not want to go down that road as the first, at least for the first solo album on my own. I wanted, and like, listen, Robert's a good friend, and he's super talented at what he does, and having him there, I mean, he's, it's just bouncing ideas off,
Well, there's a
like, just,
reason why
like,
you hire somebody like a producer like that is for
exactly.
those reasons. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's what I'd be willing to bet. Like you mentioned, Andrew, like the average probably person who's not kind of in this scene doesn't even, they probably see producer and have no idea what that even means. I mean, but to have
Yeah.
somebody in your corner like that when you have a bunch of songs and probably a little unfamiliar, kind of testing waters with them all, anyways, it's very beneficial and helpful, obviously.
Oh, it's very helpful. And sometimes you need someone to tell you, like, hey man, like, that's maybe not the best way to go about this. Like,
Yeah, oh yeah,
something Robert said to me the other day, like,
yeah. Knock you
just
down a
came back
peg.
to me. Yeah, well, it's just like, not every idea I come up with and it's a good idea. I mean, and that's the same for anyone. Like, yeah, it becomes I guess if you're gonna be doing this racket, you kind of got to get used to like yeah, not everything I come up with is going to be good.
Oh
And
man, you
like,
got to have thick skin. Like, there's no doubt about that.
of course. And like,
Yeah.
you can't be, like, how can I say it? Like, criticism is not meant to offend you. You know what I mean? It's just like, you can do it better. If
Oh,
that makes
absolutely,
sense.
man.
Like,
I'm the biggest fan of constructive criticism. I mean, especially when it comes to writing and making a piece better, because just like you mentioned, I mean, it's all about that first listen. I mean, you want to make sure that's spot on every time, right?
yeah. And something Robert said a couple of days ago, and this was the Fairgale album we were working on. I played something on guitar, and he just looks at me and he goes, "To Def Leppard." I was like, "You're right. That actually is not good. Yeah, so let's do something else."
No, that's awesome, man. So
Yeah.
so let's talk a little bit about the new record, the new Fairgale record. What
Yeah.
what are we working with? How many songs are you thinking are probably going to be roughly on the album? I mean, obviously you write a bunch, Steven writes a bunch. How's that kind of work out for this new record?
Yeah. So we're doing 8 tunes.
Cool.
Steven, so the way it works, I guess, to explain here is like both Steven and I are lead vocalists, guitar players. I guess we call ourselves the primary writers. Everybody has a say in everything, but like I'll come with a song and Steven will come with a song, that sort of thing. The thing that normally we would have gotten together more. So this album's going to be a little different just because we were also like in our own worlds, that like I was basically coming to the table with things that were pretty well finished, and kind of the same thing with Steven.
Sure, yeah.
And like, you know what I mean? If you were in the room together, it might have looked a bit different.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have been better or worse, but it probably would have been different if the pandemic didn't exist. But I mean,
Well, I mean, that's the name of
know,
it. That's, I mean, that's kind of what everybody's dealing with is you're just trying to piece together stuff. I mean, especially throughout COVID and lockdowns and stuff. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're allowed together, sometimes you're not. So that's definitely been challenging to get together.
Definitely, yeah. But yes, it's fun, man. Like, it's just being in the studio. I love that. And, yeah, just looking forward. I mean, you know how it is. Like, there's
no, absolutely. I mean, so so you're talking about we got 8 tunes on the Fairgate record, and how many songs you got written for the solo record?
Maybe 9, but
1,000, but you're only going to choose 9.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of like stuff. Like, basically the way it works for me is like, if I feel strongly enough about an idea, I'll put the work in to try to finish it. Like I definitely have a gazillion half finished ideas out there. Like, I wouldn't even be able to tell you. But yeah, I got 8 or 9 that I feel. But I had another tune that kind of dropped off for me. But I think 8 or 9. I'm not sure. But I think the Fairgale album should be done before the solo. I don't have a timeline for the solo album. I just want to like
just kind of working on it and don't want to push it. I mean, yeah, exactly.
So I just want to, that's just going to keep moving along. And when I'm a bit closer, I'll start talking about it more. But I have been talking about it a lot on the stream and all that stuff. But
yeah. That's, you just mentioned it. You just got me right into the next segue, man. That's exactly where I wanted to bring you. But let's talk a little about this Tuesday live stream you're doing. I mean, I'm no stranger to the live streams myself. I mean, we both obviously have talked a lot about live streaming. I mean, over the last couple of years, and I know you helped me out quite a bit, actually, kind of getting off my ass to do a bit of it kind of originally and help me out getting it set up and stuff, which was great. And now you're back, you're doing this new Tuesday live stream. It's super cool, man. I've tuned in a couple nights, and I mean, it looks great, it sounds really great. I mean, you're playing a bunch of different tunes. You got your home studio there looking really, really sharp. So yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit, and what kind of gave you that idea?
Yeah, I mean, it all kind of stemmed from early on in the pandemic, of course, when the gigs all shut down. Someone like myself, at that point in time anyway, I was gigging a lot. So it was kind of like hitting a brick wall. And I was like, man, like, where do I focus this energy? And, then I started streaming. I look back on those early streams and it's pretty cringeworthy, and I don't love it. But anyway, it's just the nature of, I guess, the evolution of it or whatever. But yeah, and then I did a lot of streaming early, and the Tibbs Eve gig with you that I brought up earlier, I mean, that kind of reignited the fire for me. I was like, man, this is fun, and I want to do more of it. And because I'm working on so much music here as of late, like, I just wanted to keep something consistent. The Tuesday thing, like I'm doing, is fun. Like, and every week, like, there seems to be a couple more people who are chiming in and sticking around and all that stuff. And I'm it's primarily focused on songs I'm working on, original music. I do play covers, of course, but I'm like, like yourself, like I mean, I've done many years on George Street. A lot of times you kind of throw your own taste aside just to kind of, I'm not feeling that too heavily these days. I'm just kind of doing what I want to do. And
I can
just
relate there, my friend.
yeah, I want to carve out, like, we all have this feeling. We all want to please everyone, and everyone wants to make everyone happy. The reality is that's impossible. You can't possibly do it.
Yeah.
So I created a live stream. It's kind of like, let's come hang out, have fun. I'm going to play some songs. You can request songs. I might play them, like, but I want to carve out my audience. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, that's just where I am now. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. Like,
No, I
wanna
mean,
make
that's completely
yeah.
respectable and understandable. I mean, I think that would probably be where most people kind of would want to be in that sense. I mean, it's challenging. I mean, me and you have both done the grind quite a bit. I mean, downtown and stuff. And I mean, hats off to everybody who does that and can do it and can keep it up, because man, it's a grind, and it's a lot of fun. But you're right, man. I mean, there's a lot of nights where it's different. It's not kind of where you want to be musically, probably, because you'd rather just be doing something else. I mean, you know what I mean? And it burns you out a little bit and stuff like that.
Of course, and like, and I didn't mean this. This is not me talking down on it. Geez, like, not at all. Like, I did it for a long time, and like, man, like where I was when I started playing, like that compared to where I am now. Like, I mean, like, it's just, there's a lot of growth. I can go back and see it. Like, again, you look back at yourself years ago, and it's like kind of embarrassing. Like, when you're like, geez, can't believe I sounded like that, or wore those clothes, or did whatever. You know what I mean? And yeah, so like, man, like, I would recommend any musician, like, if you can just gig, like, you're gonna get, like, you got to get better, man.
Exactly.
Like,
It's like, it's the best experience. Yeah, exactly. It's the best experience you can get. I mean, your chops are gonna get up. Like, you're gonna learn how to perform in front of people. I mean, that's a huge thing, to be able to, talk to an audience, work an audience a little bit. I mean, all that's so beneficial.
Yeah, man, and like, the tie back in with the live stream, it is a different thing. Like, it's not like going out somewhere watching someone play. It's more like I'm kind of looking at it. It's almost like a live music podcast or something. Like, you kind of,
It is, yeah.
kind of, it's pretty
Did you?
casual. Yeah,
I
go ahead,
tuned in
sorry.
last week. No, I tuned in. I tuned in last week, but I was late. I didn't realize I was out. I think there was a game on or something. I was in watching the game, and I came in. I tried opening up the phone. And I seen that you were live. And did you just have like music on in the background? Were you just like chatting away and like that kind of stuff? Like, it was like, well, it seemed like pretty chill. I was like, okay, cool. That's a nice little way to take. I was like, man, that's interesting. You're not just banging out songs. I think you were talking about some other songs and stuff like that. And
yeah, man, it's actually yeah, so like, obviously the backbone of the whole thing is music. I mean, that's where it comes from. But again, yeah, so where am I going with that? Yeah, like, I'll tell stories about the songs. I started doing trivia just because
that's what it was. It was trivia. Yeah,
trivia. Yeah, man.
Yes.
And like, I do give out. I'm starting to give out, like, I gave out one of Brad's albums last week. Gave it a Fairgale one the week before that. I'm gonna try to. I was actually gonna see who's around that might want to give an album to give out.
Oh, I'd say I got 9 or 10 boxes there. I'm sure I can donate one if you want.
Man, pass over. Man, like 100%. Yeah, and like, so, and it's just a good chance for me to promote friends, their music and that sort of thing, and hopefully, I'll turn some people on to what you're doing. And yeah, like, it's just fun. Like, and the trivia is always music based. Like,
right.
Yeah, and so I'm doing that. Like, I'm telling stories. People are, and it's unpredictable, because at any time someone could come into the comments and say something, and then I'm just reacting to that. And the goal is, like, I want to get. I don't have the capacity at the moment, but I want to have guests on. I think I mentioned that to you before. Like, I'm not there yet. I got to get some. I got to acquire some more equipment, but yeah, I want to do that. Like, yeah, like, kind of like what we're doing now, only, play a song, mess around.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely, man. No, I mean, it's a great idea, and it's a great way to, build an audience, but keep in contact with who are your fans, or who would come see you play, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. I mean, another thing I always loved about the live streams is, like, I mean, from playing around and playing off the island too, or people who have come to the island and you've met, and they've seen you play. I mean, they get to tune in every now and then if you're on the other side of the country, or in another country for that matter. I know you don't only stream it to Facebook Live. I think you stream it through Twitch as well, right?
Yeah, I haven't streamed to Twitch in a while, but that's kind of where if you go on Twitch, if anyone hasn't done so, I mean, there's a lot of people on there that are doing it, and I started doing that. I haven't done it in a while, but that's where I got a lot of the ideas for like just the way it looks, how people like. I mean, I saw lots of people doing things I didn't like, and I kind of picked how I wanted it to fit what I'm doing, sort of thing. I mean, I think the trivia is not mind blowing, but like, but like, I just like that sort of thing. So
But it's a great way to interact with people, man. It's a
Yeah, that's
laugh.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a bit of fun, right? Like, that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's I mean, I love it. I have a lot of fun, man. I normally do it for about 2 hours on a Tuesday night. So yeah, definitely. If anyone's
Yeah,
out there
no.
looking for something to do,
Yeah, how
on
can
a
they find
Tuesday,
that? How can anybody find that for like if they're looking for you for on a Tuesday night?
yeah, if you follow my page on Facebook, it's just Andrew Rodgers Music. Just look me up. I'm looking at multi-stream, and I'm hoping to stream to YouTube maybe tomorrow night when I go live. I don't have a big YouTube following. I haven't been pushing YouTube. I haven't really put a lot of effort in on that side of it, but
YouTube's tricky now, man. Years ago,
yeah.
it was a little bit better for like monetizing it, but it's after getting quite difficult now. I mean, it's not only your subscribers, but you have to have I think it's 4,000 watchable hours in a 12-month span right now to monetize your YouTube channel. I mean, that's a lot. It's a really it's quite a bit. I mean,
You're essentially working for YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it all depends. I mean, if you put up a video that I guess went viral, it would blow up. You could get it then. I mean, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. I didn't quite understand.
Yeah, I think like to actually monetize your channel, you need to your YouTube channel has to have 4,000 watched hours in the last 12 months, which is a lot. I mean, if you think about it, 4,000 hours is quite a bit. Well, that's really exciting, man. That's cool. I mean, I'm sure you're really excited and pumped for some new music. I mean, it's got to be pretty thrilling. Is there any live shows or anything planned out or anything, or how's that kind of working out? I guess it's been tough. I mean, to book anything still.
Yeah, because we're kind of in the midst of doing the album. We haven't been trying to put a show together. I would have expected the next show that we're going to do is going to be an album release somewhere here in St. John's. Who knows? Might do a live stream event too. It's hard to say. We haven't really looked at that side of it too hard at this moment. But I mean, there will be a release show at some point. So yeah, follow Fairgale if anyone's interested. Fairgale.
Are you guys still working with Sound of Pop? Still, is that still?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? I think that's really interesting. Man. And I mean, I was chatting with a couple other guests over the last season and stuff, but I find it really interesting. Just maybe explain kind of what Sound of Pop is and how that kind of works a little bit.
Yeah. So Sound of Pop is a publishing company, which I guess is I guess I should explain what a publisher does. Basically, a publisher it'll take on behalf of myself or someone like Dave or whoever, and pitch their music to, could be TV shows, could be movies, commercials, anywhere like that you would hear. And if you start paying attention, every commercial, every show, every like whatever has music playing in the background. And of course there's fees associated with that. So Sound of Pop is our publisher, and we have had some success. Steven in particular, we've had one of our tunes come together, a song Steven wrote that ended up in a movie. I can't remember the name.
Yeah, I think Steven had a couple like compositions like in Christmas movie. He had a song in a Christmas movie or a couple of Christmas movies too.
Yeah. Funny enough, I was actually at my grandmother's over Christmas and there was a Christmas movie on, and I was like, man, what's the name of that movie that Steven ended up having that song in? And of course the credits started rolling and there was Steven in the background singing. I was like, hilarious.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
What a weird coincidence.
I know. But I guess every year it comes on, right? So for the last couple of years. And so he wrote those songs specifically for so because we're kind of on Sound of Pop's roster, I guess is the way to look at it. They'll every so often they'll be like, send out an email. We need a song that sounds like Mumford and Sons, that blah blah blah, that needs to go behind the end credits of a Christmas movie, and the lyrics need to be about this. So Steven took a crack at a couple things and ended up getting placements out of those. And I guess myself, I've had instrumentals played in TV shows and stuff on Netflix, which is pretty interesting to see. I kind of did that on my own outside, but it's same principle, you know what I mean? Like similar idea.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting, man. And just like kind of another little, something else to kind of monetize yourself really. And a great way to kind of get out there and meeting people and all that kind of stuff is really, really neat.
That's interesting.
All right, listen, I haven't done this before. I'm going to try this out. This is
Let's do it.
I'm not sure. I might use it as my guinea pig,
Do
but
it.
I did up some rapid fire questions. Okay.
Okay. I
I got
already love
like
it.
you love okay.
Try it.
I'm thinking about trying it out. I don't know. I just kind of but I know you a little bit, so it's going to be a little easier than if I have somebody I don't overly know that well and we're just kind of meeting. But anyways, I got like 5 or 6 just for a laugh, and then
Yes.
and then
Find the
we'll
right
we'll probably clue it up then. But before I do get to the rapid fire questions, let everybody know where they can find Fairgale and Andrew Rodgers stuff, just so in case I forget that.
Sure, yeah. So Fairgale is pretty straightforward at this point. Fairgale.com. You can find us Fairgale Music on Instagram, and it's just I think Facebook.com/Fairgale. And of course, if you just Google if you just type Fairgale into YouTube, Fairgale, we basically made up a word. It comes from in Newfoundland. If it's really windy, you might hear people say, because we're so sarcastic, I guess, geez, there's a Fairgale on today. So Stephen came up with that, and that's where the name came from. For my own stuff, I'm probably most active on Instagram. I actually just changed it. It's Andrew Rodgers Music.
I noticed that today. Yeah, way to go.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because anytime I ever saw someone try to read out my handle or whatever you want.
Well,
to
he
call
didn't
it,
have the A on it, right?
Well, the @ symbol was supposed to be the
Right,
A. And
right,
I thought I was
right.
being clever, but
Right.
I wasn't.
Right.
So I changed it to Andrew Rodgers Music to just, it's just easier, makes sense. Yeah, follow me on there. And I'm on TikTok too, doing duets and all that sort of thing, just having a laugh.
And I wanted to mention as well, just before I get to my new segment of my new podcast, Rapid Fire Questions, RFQ with Dave Whitty.
Love it.
Videos, you guys do a great job with videos. I know that the guys are really active with the video side of stuff. I mean, they got their own kind of little side project going. What they do, a ton of great stuff. I mean, I've got some pictures taken with Steven, and I know the guys do a ton of the video stuff. But your guys' videos are awesome. They're really cute and kind of catchy and like they're visually appealing. So yeah, I would definitely send some people to your YouTube. I guess it's on your YouTube channel as well, is it?
Yeah, it's on our YouTube, and I guess to talk about the guys for a second. I mean, we started out pretty low budget in terms of the videos. I think we made our second video. It cost us like $20.
Is that the one with the signs?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, that was still Steven's idea. Basically, he was the mastermind behind that too. But then he clearly got super interested in that world. And if you see the quality of the videos that Steven and Brad is doing the editing. Center City Media, I'll give the boss a shout out.
Yes, absolutely.
Doing wicked work. Yeah, absolutely. Pro level stuff. So
yep. I totally agree with that. I mean, the boys are doing really, really great stuff, and the videos look really sharp. Yeah, definitely check them out. And if anybody's listening who might want a video shot for them, I would reach out to the guys because they're deadly. All right, are you ready for this final segment?
Oh baby, let's go.
All right. Rapid fire questions with Mr. Andrew Rodgers. No
timer,
but like try not to
Take
don't think about it too hard. Like really try to give me your most honest. It's only 5 or 6 questions. It'll only be quick. All right. All right. First question. Who is the artist you listened to most in the last year?
Sam Fender. Maybe Chris Stapleton.
Nice. Where is Andrew Rodgers' favorite restaurant in the city of St. John's?
This one's a little disappointing. I was a big fan of Zapata's. It's right next door. Mexican food. Loved it. Went there one day. Closed.
Are they permanently closed?
I think the sign on the door said the owner had passed away.
Oh no, that's heartbreaking. I never knew that. Yeah, that place is awesome.
But anyway, that was my right now. Oh my God, man, I'm loving Pizza House. Oddly enough, the Indian food.
I know. I've heard that. It's so. I've heard that.
So check out Pizza House.
Yeah,
the name
Pizza
is
House.
Deceiving.
It is deceiving.
They do have pizza,
but they have great Indian food. Yeah, you're right. No,
yeah.
I've heard a bunch of things about that. All right, who is your favorite Toronto Maple Leaf of all time?
Oh man, I mean, I know Matthews is still on the line. I'm a big fan of Matthews, but if I want to go back to let's go back a little ways. I mean, I love like Sundin. Alexander McGillney was always someone who I paid a lot of attention to. And I used to love Sergei Berezin as a kid.
Oh man, Berezin was awesome. He had the half tuck. The half tuck. Yeah, exactly.
Biggest kind of a puck hog.
I got to throw this quick story in. I mean, you can definitely comment on it too. But I know that you did. I know that you told it the other day on your podcast or on your live stream when I was watching. But me and Rodgers actually got booked to play. Well, I got booked to play this.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you go ahead. You
You want me to? You want me
yeah,
to? Okay.
you go ahead. Yeah.
So there's no way we can't talk about this if this is what we're doing. So, I mean, me and Dave have been friends for quite a while. The Toronto Maple Leafs, we're both big fans. The Leafs came to town for training camp, and I mean that was a huge deal here. And Iceberg Alley, the big concert festival that happens here every year, was happening. I happened to see Dave at the festival, and I was like, "How's it going?" Whatever. And Dave was like, "Man, I got to tell you something, but like, don't say anything." I was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "I'm playing a gig for the Leafs." I was like, "What?" I was like, "I'll play. Like, I'll play." Like, kind of joking, because I was like, "There's no way he's gonna get me in on this." And I think you had asked, maybe you can answer this. You had asked, like, I think Mark Manning, I mean, you guys do a bunch of stuff together. He couldn't make it or something. And I was like, "Man, I'm totally down."
Yeah.
You were like, "Okay, man, I might be able to get you in. Yeah, I'll check and let you know tomorrow." I was like, "All right, best con." I think it was like 4:00, or no, it was like 3:00 in the day or something. You were like, "Kitty Vitty, 4:30." Like, it was like I had like an hour.
It was
I
like a
didn't even know
secret because they wouldn't tell me. They wouldn't tell me where it was because the team didn't want a bunch of fans and media around. They just wanted to go down to the
course.
they wanted to go down to the brewery for a couple hours and just kind of relax and just have a couple beers and they wanted some live music. So they asked me, the guys from Kitty Vitty did, and they asked me if I could get a duo. And like we mentioned, I mean, so they told me not to tell anybody. So I told you at like, I think it was like 4:00 or something like that. And we had to play,
right.
4:30 or 5:00 or something. Yeah. But yeah, it was, that was hilarious.
Well, I mean, and for me, I've been a big Leafs fan for a long time, and just to be in that room, like, I remember we were waiting around, we were all set up, and I looked down, and I think was it Shanahan or Dubas?
Shanahan was there. Well,
Yeah.
it was the management mostly. It was mostly the management staff there, right? And I think some of the younger guys were there too as well. But I mean, it was like, Brendan Shanahan, Haley Wickenheiser was there.
Yeah, well,
Dubas.
Like you're in the room and you're like, "Oh, okay, well, there's Kyle Dubas. That's the guy who's going to save this team." I was like, this is already weird. Like, I don't know why I'm here, but anyway. And you're like Brendan Shanahan. You start thinking about like the Detroit Red Wings and that guy in his prime, just tearing it up. And then like Haley Wickenheiser's in the room, and I start thinking about
Olympic gold medalist. You're like, wow,
2002.
Man. Yeah.
Me and my old man watching the game. I remember when I think it was Jana Hefford scored that trickler in the last seconds of the second period. I think I jumped up, hit my hands off the roof. So all those things were going through my mind. And Mike Babcock was there. We joked about how
he was so nice to us. Yeah, I mean, he was so nice to us. And I mean, remember he came up and we were kind of like in between songs, and he came up. He was just pumping our tires, man. What a great job you guys are doing. Wow, what a beautiful spot down here. Geez, we love it, Newfoundland, yada, yada. And I think we finally like built up the courage to ask him for a picture. Yeah. We're like, all right, well, maybe we can ask Mike, Mike, do you mind if we get a picture? He like comes up, we get a picture.
I don't know. How can you not? And I always feel like an idiot when I ask someone like, I don't know why, but we are like this. You want to, you look up to people like, especially hockey, that kind of thing, and you want to grab a picture. But yeah, like I know a lot of things came out about him afterwards that maybe weren't so favorable. But I mean, in that moment, I'll say, he went out of his way to come up because I guess he knew that, like, these guys, this might mean a lot to these guys. So he came
I couldn't agree with you anymore. He was the nicest man. I mean, and he didn't just chat with us to kind of, because he felt like he had to. He was legit. He was telling us, he was like, "Oh man, geez, my son plays guitar. He loves music and all that stuff. And you want to get a picture?" And he was like, "I want to get a picture." He said, "I want to get a picture and show my sons," is what he said of us.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. He wanted a picture. He wanted a picture with us. And we were like, "Oh, it's the coach of the Leafs, man." Like, and then 2 weeks later, he got fired. 2 weeks later,
he got canned. We got canned.
It was our fault, man. We did it.
Fault. Yes, we've been joking about that ever since. We got Babcock fired, so I don't know if me and you should probably do a whole lot of gigs together anymore.
Definitely not for any Leafs or anything like that. But yeah, I had to throw that story, and I meant to talk about that earlier, but it kind of worked great with my Leafs question there. All right, we'll keep going. We got 3 more questions for you. Okay, you ready? Who is someone either locally or not that you might think people that people might think is underrated or unheard of that somebody should probably check out? Like an artist, could be anything.
Mick
Davis, man, what an answer. I got to get Mick on this season because he's awesome. I think they're just putting out a new record as well. Or like they got an EP. He
is just churning it out. I love it. I love that.
He pumps songs out, man. It's awesome, man. Yeah, Mick Davis.
Thinking it, just creating his art, putting it out there for people to hear. Go check it out. Go check out Mick Davis, singer to Novaks, if you're wondering.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Do you think that I Crack the Pirates softball team this summer.
Absolutely.
You think I get a roster spot?
Yes.
All right, I'm tagging Tom in this post then.
The Pirates are, yes. I don't know if you want to, or I guess I can.
Oh, I'm not a part of the team yet. I missed last year
Okay.
because I was working the whole time, so I didn't make the cut. Me and Rodgers also play hockey together. We've been playing.
Yeah.
We've been playing hockey for the last few years now, a couple times a week. But
Yeah,
the boys started up a softball team as well. I didn't make the roster yet, so I'm wondering if I'm going to get a look in this summer.
I think we can get you in, man. The requirements are basically if you own a mitt and you can drink a beer. That's pretty much all we're looking for.
there's a couple guys on the IR anyway, so I might slip in that way pretty easily.
What position do you play? You don't know yet.
No, I'd probably hopefully on the infield somewhere. I wouldn't want to be
Okay.
out in the outfield. I'd leave that fellas like you who can run around the field 3 times faster than me. All right, and the final question for rapid fire questions with Andrew Rodgers.
Let's go.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yes.
Hey, my man.
Extra.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I love pineapple on pizza. Rodgers, man, thanks so much. It's been a laugh catching up with you, man. Really appreciate you taking the time to jump on and have a chat with me. Looking forward to seeing you again in real life, and hopefully we get together for a few pops and a few tunes sooner.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on here. And like I said, with the Tuesday stream, man, I'm hoping to get guests. So you're definitely on the top of that list to have on. So if you're interested in doing that, man, I'll once I get that part of it figured out, I'll have you on. Absolutely, man.
Absolutely. Would love to do that, man. Make sure you check out Andrew Rodgers, guys, and check out his band Fairgale. Thanks so much, Rodgers. We'll see you again soon, man. Cheers.
Yeah, man. Take care. Thanks.
Huge thanks to Andrew Rodgers for jumping on there, guys. Andrew's such a great guy. He is so down to earth. One of my good friends. I mean, we played together over the years, done a ton of gigs. We also play sports together, we play hockey, and I'm really hoping to crack the softball team this year. Make sure you check out Andrew's band, Fairgale. Check out his solo project. He's really excited to hear that. And make sure you check out his Tuesday night live streams from his Facebook page. They're really, really fun. Playing lots of great tunes. There's no charge to it. You can contribute, I think, to a virtual tip jar if you feel like it. But he's doing a real neat thing over there, and he deserves the support. He's one of our great songwriters and great singers here in Newfoundland. That about does it for me, guys. My name is Dave Whitty. I'm super stoked to be back for season 2 of the podcast. You know where to find all my links: Spotify, Apple Music. You can get me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Go follow it all, and I'm always posting different fun things, whether it's music and all kinds of sorts of things. So I want to say a big shout out to Lambs Rum for jumping on board again this season, guys. Lambs Rum is the drink for Newfoundlanders. So head to the NLC this year or head to the NLC this weekend and grab a bottle for yourself and enjoy it maybe with some friends if you can. That about does it for me, guys, from downtown St. John's, Newfoundland. My name is Dave Whitty. Peace.